All right. What a crazy day to be a crypto investor. So, wherever you are in the planet, some of you guys are waking up. So, grab your coffee or stick your headphones in and go for a little walk with us because I'm walking, but I'm in a room right now. But I want to discuss the crazy, crazy moves that we've had. We've had some more news come out. We have some kind of worrying moves happening in the last like 30 or so minutes. And we're going to be breaking down the video from earlier today, but also all of the news that's happened between that and going even more in depth because live streams right now are what I want to be doing because in scary markets, that's when I want to be showing up the most for you guys. So hopefully you appreciate that. This channel was originally created to help the me when I was back in 2017. I thought I was a G. I made loads of money. Then I lost it all in 2018. And if I had someone like me right now, just literally showing what they're doing in the market. I'm not always successful. Some of the trades fail. Some of the investments fail. But overall, I've managed to make money in crypto. And I hope that I can help at least one person who is exactly like me back in 2017 see the light and see how they can navigate these markets a little bit better. So if you guys do appreciate that, I would appreciate you just hit that subscribe button. I'm going to try and go live a little bit more often, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, around this time. I think it would be good to catch the market open over in the US while we're live. So in half an hour, the market will be opening. So I think that would be cool. And yeah, let me know how these times work for you. And if you can do me a favor and you are currently tuning in, please do hit that like button because the like button is what helps these live streams go out to more people. I know me bouncing up and down, having a walk is a little annoying for some people, but I would appreciate if you like this video. All right now, as people are leaving the cryptocurrency market, it creates an opportunity for us, right? But it also means as a creator, I get significantly less views on this channel. So in order to help that, I just ask for a little bit of help in return for the videos. That's it. With that said, I'm going to go through the news, then I'll go through your questions, and we'll have a little bit of a chill, and then hopefully the market opens and I don't collapse because I've had kind of a crazy day. I woke up, I played paddle, got absolutely smashed. I then went to the gym, did high rocks, got absolutely smashed. And then I played another game of paddle, and guess what? Your boy got absolutely smashed. But in a bear market, I do think it's an opportune moment, right, to set yourself up for success, right? Focus on your health. Focus on different things that you neglected in the bull market because right now, guys, things are much slower. Yes, today is a scary day in the market. I get it. But once you've been in these markets a few times, it's fine, right? In fact, I took advantage of the move we had when everyone was panicked this morning, and those trades are now almost in profit. Some of them are doing well. But what I want to say to you is the market moves much slower, right? If we are in a bear market, which a lot of people think we are, I would assume that you have a lot more time, right? We have time on our hands. We can increase our incomes. We can take those incomes, put them into assets we believe in. And then if this crypto winter, I always like to make sure you guys understand what I'm saying. So when I say bear market, we are in a bear market, right? A 20% move to the downside, a 20% correction, staying under that, we're in a bear market. But in crypto, normally, we actually refer to the bear market as like crypto winter, the long period of time, you know, the 22 to 21 end of it, going into a bear market, we stay down for a year or two, right? That's a crypto winter, right? So in this crypto winter, we can slowly accumulate what we believe in. And in turn, we can also focus on our health and all of that stuff. So don't let yourself get beaten up. If you made some bad decisions, you made some wrong choices in the bull market, I promise you, right? This is now your time to learn. Put that as your university ticket, right? That's the cost of doing business, COGS, or your tuition fee. And then from here is where you change the game. For me, 2018 was one of the most painful years of my life. I went from thinking I made loads of money and then I lost it all, right? And I used that as a lesson and I continued to grow and I continued to invest and I continued to research. Right. And then I made a ton of money in 2021. And that's not to brag. That's because I stayed invested in a moment like this. When everyone's telling you crypto is a scam, when everyone's telling you the new latest FUD, you know, I've had a bunch of messages today alone about the old files that have been released. Right. And people are worried about how these files that have been released are connected to funding of Bitcoin's core team. And therefore, Bitcoin is now not a safe investment because maybe some people are involved. We don't know, guys, but for me, it doesn't change the tech, right? So I'm going to continue to be invested into Bitcoin, continue to DCA, but also be diversified. Also pay attention to other markets. And I will be talking about other markets here on these live streams and on my channel. I'm talking about equities, I'm talking about ETFs, I'm talking about gold and silver, I'm talking about Bitcoin, I'm talking about real estate, not so much, but these are all the things that I'm invested into. And these are all the things that we slowly grow and accumulate our wealth over time. So right now, the most important thing for you guys to do is stay involved. Do not leave like everyone else does. All right. How do I know? Someone actually asked me, how do I know that people are leaving in droves? Well, if you go to the Google Trends, you can see, obviously, right now, Bitcoin's pumping the search term for Bitcoin as we get absolutely annihilated. But you can see, just a week ago, we were at bear market lows. That's how you know that people aren't here anymore. They're leaving. You can see your favorite YouTubers, TikTokers, Twitters, whatever. The views are down. The likes are down. That's how we know, right? But I know, and all of my friends know that are in my echo chamber, that right now, my Apple Watch just told me to end the workout because it probably thinks because my heart rate's so low, I'm walking too slow. But we know that this is the moment to pay attention. So I don't want to yap on too long. Make sure you get your questions in while I go through the news, and then I'll divert my attention over to the comment section and we can start chatting. So this is the move that's just happened, right? So we have a few things that are going on, but one of the most insane moves that we have happening right now, BlackRock shifts 600 million in crypto to Coinbase. They moved 6,900 Bitcoin worth 538 million. 58,000 ETH worth 133 million to Coinbase roughly an hour ago. Now, what this people are thinking, or what this would show us, is it's probably going to be more selling on the market. Now, is there going to be enough buying to absorb this? We don't know yet. But remember, BlackRock is moving this to Coinbase because either on Friday a bunch of people sold, or they're anticipating market open, a bunch of people are going to sell. Remember, we're not tracking like Larry Fink's wallet here, which people seem to get confused with. We're tracking the people who invest in Bitcoin through BlackRock's ETF. Right? So this is normal retail. And normal retail, they panic in moments like this. Right? So that's all we're seeing here. It's not BlackRock panicking. It's not Larry Fink going, oh, actually, I've gone on all these news shows and gone, Bitcoin's the future, or at least blockchain is the future, and tokenized equities and all of that is the future. Oh, now I'm wrong. Right? Oh, I was wrong. I was wrong. And now I'm dumping everything. That's not what's happening. Right? That's not what we see here. However, the price is not lovely. We know that. Right now, just let's call it 78,000, right? We came down to the lower region of our support, which interestingly coincides with exactly this point right here. Now, I don't want to fill this stream with a ton of hopium because I think a lot of people are sick of me being full of hopium when the market just continues to annihilate. I'm sorry for that, but this is what's worked for me in the past. But you can see here, right? This moment here, 55% drawdown for Bitcoin, still after that resulted in an all-time high for Bitcoin. I tell you, people thought the market was over here. It was a bleak time. It was horrible, right? But you see 1, 2, 3 times or 5 times, depending on how many times you want to see that, we tested this support. This support coincides with first high, right? Was it all-time high? Yeah. So 41K, an all-time high for Bitcoin. And then we came down to put in a support at 30,000. Then we went on to new all-time highs. But we came down to retest that zone before making a high. We retested it multiple times. People thought the bear market was over. They thought Bitcoin can't have a 55% correction, right? And then go on to new all-time highs without going into a bear market. However, it can. And we saw that, right? So right now, that could be what we're seeing. That's the hopium of the show. The end. All right. Moving on from that, Tom Lee, Ethereum treasury company Bitmine, BMNR, which I am invested into. Terrible investment so far. Horrible. But again, this is how I've made money. For example, CleanSpark was an absolutely horrible investment. Terrible. Horrible. All right, Tyler Hill, I've seen you just jump in there. But CleanSpark was a horrible investment throughout the whole bear market. I lost money. I felt like I was throwing fire or money onto the fire. Every single month I was buying CleanSpark. But guess what? CleanSpark has been, apart from Bitcoin, my most profitable trade kind of ever, right? And I sold it all in the bull market. And that's how I, what's the word? Like I made up for, I didn't want to sell my Bitcoin, so I sold my Bitcoin adjacent stocks. And I made really nice money doing that in the bull market, very near the top. I've now started to accumulate clean spark once again. And I'm just telling you that back in the bear market, it felt horrible. Right now, BM&R feels horrible. I think I'm down about 40% on that position. And I will continue to average into that position slowly over time. Another one to think of is Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy was in the pits. It was the value of it, from my memory, don't quote me, around 50% less than the value of the Bitcoin they hold. Then MicroStrategy over the next, you invested into it, you absolutely annihilated yourself over time, DCA and get as much as you can. And then in the bull market, MicroStrategy outperformed Bitcoin. It was incredible, right? So this is the sort of environment. I'm not telling you to buy BM&R. I'm not telling you to buy MicroStrategy. I'm not telling you to buy Bitcoin. I'm not telling you to buy altcoins. But what I am telling you is anyone who has made good money in this market, right? I consider myself and what I was hoping for with my life to have made good money. I consider my friends like Tyler Hill, who's in this, to have made really good money. We've done it by being able to sustain the pain that you're feeling today, right? So all you have to do is make it through this. I'm not telling you the exact right pick, right? Which one's going to do well? I believe Bitcoin is a great opportunity for me to DCA when everyone's scared. That's why I did it this morning. I also alerted to that in my group, right? I did a bunch of moves this morning. I alerted to all of that in the crypto school, which is a paid community, which even in this market, people are loving, which is absolutely brilliant. Tyler Hill, again, who's on this stream right now, he is my partner in this, and we try and provide as much value as we possibly can. Again, this is a paid group with multiple coaches, just so much value here in one place. And it's the right time right now to be considering something like this. But if you don't want to pay, I also have the free crypto Kickstart, which is linked below this video as well. This is where you can see my exchanges I trade on, my exact strategies, mastering the crypto basics, and a macro insights course, right? I had a separate course that I used to charge for, which is in here for totally free. So if you want to check that out, feel free to do that. But I digress. The pain is here. Tom Lee, right? Even in this pain with an unrealized $6.6 billion Ethereum loss, on track to be the 5th largest documented principal trading loss in history if he sold his position. He just added, all right, 41,000 Ethereum for just under $100 million. $100 million when everyone's panicked. Right? The majority of the market really doesn't like Michael Saylor, really doesn't like Tom Lee. Remember how traders act in this market, right? Traders who are successful, traders who win over time, do not ever trade with emotion, right? So it would make sense that anyone who has a bad feeling towards Tom Lee or Michael Saylor right now is, in fact, investing and trading with emotion. Right? You couldn't find someone who bought Bitcoin DCA for the last 10 years who's mad at these guys, unless maybe they don't like the whole the way MicroStrategy is getting debt to buy Bitcoin. But as a person or angry, they don't, because that's not what their investment strategy is based on. It's not based on their emotional feeling towards a person, right? It's based on their thinking and their research. So Tom Lee is exactly the same. He doesn't care that the price is down. What he cares about is that he's getting more Ethereum for cheaper because he believes in his long-term vision of it. Will he turn out to be right? Will me backing him with my money turn out to be right? We don't know. That's a case that's waiting to be proved or not proved, right? But over time, people who are highly convicted into the things they've highly researched tend to be the ones that win, especially when they stay in market environments like this rather than leaving with the herd. Think about 2 weeks ago, right? When silver and gold were absolutely flying. You all know, who are listening to me right now, you all spoke about it like at least once with your friends. You all heard a taxi driver or a teacher or a friend or a family member or whatever talk about how gold and silver was the perfect buy right at the exact top, right? We all had it, because I had it constantly throughout every one of those things that I've said, including my comment section. You're a moron for being in crypto when gold and silver, people are talking about silver moving like a meme coin, being at all-time highs and then still buying it there. Now, right now could very well be a great time to buy gold and silver. It's much less risky to buy after a move like this that we see here quite a catastrophic move than it is to buy at all-time highs. And that sounds kind of counterintuitive when you're at the all-time highs, but sounds kind of reasonable right now, right? It's much better to buy silver after a 38% correction than it is to buy silver after like what, a 300% move in a month, right? Like however long that was, 200% since Jan this year, right? It makes sense, but it's not so obvious when you're at the top. So with that said, Tom Lee sticking to his guns. Who else sticking to their guns? Strategy. Michael Saylor acquiring 855 Bitcoin for 75 million at 87,000. So he's annihilated in that buy. It's terrible, right? And then he acquired another. This is the total hodl of 713,000 Bitcoin acquired for 54.26 billion at 76. So at the time of recording, he is actually back in profit on this. And I don't think that he's going, oh, I really hate that guy who told me about Bitcoin. And then I really hate him. And I'm so mad at him. Of course he's not, right? He's following his own thesis, right? So that's how we want to be behaving in this market. If we're underwater on our trades, it's up to us. We take responsibility. We learn, we adjust, we grow, and then we come out profitable at the end, but we have to be able to be around for ages, right? Ages. This is the same thing. People made fun of Michael Saylor in the last bear market, and now those same people are back making fun of him again. Little do they pay attention that the MicroStrategy stock outperformed Bitcoin. All right, so people who invested into it and then took some profits made tons of money. Now, according to Bull Theory, this is absolutely insane. After the US futures opened on Sunday night, the first Bitcoin dropped 1,500 in just 12 minutes and then recovered 1,900 in the next 26 minutes. Nearly 100 million in longs were liquidated in the last hour. So this is there to remind me to go over to the old Bitcoin exchange map. Oh, we can go down to a year now. Look at this, guys. Oh, I like to look at the 30-day because it's a little bit more accurate as to what's happening day to day. But look at this, guys. There is $11.2 billion worth of shorts with absolutely 1 billion, nothing longs, right? Remember, and no, again, I'm not saying, oh, I called the top. I knew exactly where it was, because if I had done that, I would have shorted it with 100x leverage and done a perfect trade. I didn't do that. Right? But what we did do is we discussed the leverage. This is why I discuss it every single day. Right here at this high, right? It was very worrying for me. I spoke about this multiple days. Every day I'm talking, right? Every day I'm yapping, and every day I talk about this, right? It very much worried me because we were breaking out, but the problem is we annihilated all of the shorts and loads of people were going long. And they were piling in on the longs. And that doesn't make me very comfortable. Now, that doesn't dictate where Bitcoin goes over the long term. What it does is it makes volatility. Volatility fortunes the brave. Everyone's like, well, not everyone, but a lot of people are like, oh, if it wasn't for these leverage traders, Bitcoin would be so much higher. Bitcoin is high. Right? With the leverage traders, Bitcoin went from its low to its high, which was just under a 700% move with leverage traders. This drop to the downside is not because of leverage traders. This drop to the downside is because the entire markets are getting annihilated and Bitcoin's just getting wrapped up into that. And right now, people don't consider Bitcoin a safe haven asset. They were considering it a safe haven asset up here. They'll consider it a safe haven asset once again, but it just takes time for that to happen. Now, before we get back to what's it called when you talk about charts? Technical analysis, right? We can see, this is again Michael Saylor, right? He's holding 3.5% of Bitcoin and he was underwater this morning. Imagine how he felt. Now, Michael Van de Poppe here, the last time gold topped, the following happened. Ethereum bottomed 9 months prior. Ethereum crashed by 30 to 40%. This time, Ethereum apparently bottomed 9 months prior, and ETH is already down 31%. Sorry, I am not walking. I'm still walking currently. A rise of 300% against Bitcoin for Ethereum and the bull market for crypto. That's what happened last time and may happen again. I know that's a bit of hoping. I actually said I wouldn't do that again, but We see Cloud9 markets here. You were bullish on Bitcoin. It's down a whopping 40% in 4 months. You predicted it to go 200K in 2026. This is him asking Grok, what's your prediction now? Grok still thinks it's possible for $160,000 by December. Now, maybe it's biased, maybe it's whatever, but that's an AI that's plugged into basically all of the data at all times, and it still thinks we could go up. However, the bear case is, for what it can see in its research, 50K. Maybe 50K happens. What will you do if 50K does happen? We have Satoshi Stacker here that's saying that Bitcoin's 200-week moving average is around 58,000, a 23% drop from current prices. A move this low is not guaranteed, but if we reach those levels, it would be a key support to monitor. What I'm saying to you right now is, if you are like me and you believe that Bitcoin could one day be 150,000, 200,000, 250,000, 500,000, 1 million. That's what I believe. I could be completely wrong in that, right? That's why it's not 100% of my portfolio. I could be completely wrong in that. But if you are like me and you believe that, I ask you a question. Now answer me. If everyone who's watching live, please do answer me right now. I'd love to hear your response. What difference, right, does the price of 75,000, 77,000 and 58,000? Why does that make any difference, right? As long as I'm not trying to lump sum invest into Bitcoin and time the perfect bottom. Because I have news for you. Nobody can do that. I can't do that. Michael Saylor can't do that. Tom Lee can't do that. And your favorite trader cannot do that. They may very well have timed this recent all-time high perfectly and shorted it. They may very well have bought this morning like I did, and now they're in profit. Maybe, but that doesn't mean you can time the bottom. And anyone who behaves in a manner that makes you believe that they are somehow have the ability to do that is full of shit. All right? I'm sorry to tell you. Now, on that note, the one that everyone thought was an insider that knew everything about the market. This is again to prove my point that no one knows the tops or the bottoms. The one that made over $100 million shorting the market just before the crash or whatever it was, lost all of it. $128 million realized loss. If that doesn't tell you that nobody bloody knows what's going to happen next, I don't know what will. Because same with that James Wynn guy. Remember that guy made 80 million, lost it all, right? Because nobody knows. All you can do, right, is you can follow a strategy. You can stay in lower leverage. You can not trade with emotion, and you can DCA your spot bags or DCA the equities market or DCA the metals market and do what someone like Warren Buffett does and try and find value plays over a long period of time. Do you know why Warren Buffett is the most successful trader or most successful investor in the world? It's because of the amount of time he's been in the market. I heard a stat in a podcast, and I'm not going to get the numbers right, but I think it was at 66. If Warren Buffett had have stopped investing at 66, something like he would have only had 200 million or something, right? But it's from 66 to now where he's made all of these billions and become one of the richest investors in the world. What does that tell us, right? He was on the money, but if he had given up early, he would have been nowhere near where he is now. It's simply buying an asset or assets and holding them for the significant long term. Bro's like 100 years old, and that's what works, right? That's what I believe, and I've taken what his preaching, his teachings, right? I've taken that and I apply it to new markets. He doesn't believe in crypto, right? But I've applied his logic to crypto. I also invest into Berkshire Hathaway to hedge in case I'm the idiot, right? If I'm the idiot, well, brilliant. I own Warren Buffett's company that hates crypto. So I've hedged my bets, right? And that's how I like to play these markets. I hedge my crypto with Warren Buffett. I hedge my stock market with real estate and so on and so forth, right? I hedge all of my investments with building a cash pile. That means I can live for a few years without needing those investments, right? It's all about creating emotional stability. So in a market environment like we're in today, you can jump on a treadmill, you can walk, you can yap, you can play 2 games of paddle where you get absolutely annihilated, right? Absolutely annihilated. You can get yourself up, you can laugh about it, you can go to the gym, sweat your ass off, and then you can go to bed and you can sleep a full day's sleep. Look at this, one of the biggest crashes in crypto history. And yes, I am bragging about this. I love a little brag, not about money, but what I brag about is boom. Look at that. Look at my sleep score. Can you see that? 98%. 98% recovery, 92% sleep. Bro, if anyone's flexing anything, I don't want to see portfolios. I want to see your Whoop score. How much younger are you? Right? How much younger does Whoop say? All right, with that said, guys, I think I've yapped. I think I've yapped myself long enough. Let's do some comments. Chuck in the comments, guys. We have 700 people watching right now. Over 111 likes. Guys, if everyone who's watching right now can just hit that like button, let's get to 300 likes. The reason I request this is because it helps me get these live streams out to more people. If I can get these live streams out to more people, I'm more incentivized to jump on. I want to be jumping on when the market is like this. I want to be the guy who turns up for you guys, who doesn't shy away when the markets get bad. Most influencers, I've noticed, they're around, they're posting loads of content in the bull market. And where are they in the bear market? Are they gone? And then they're back in the bull market again. So I don't want to be that guy, right? So if you can help me out, smash up the like button. Go on, do it. Do us a favor. And guys, start putting in your comments into the comment section right now so I can start answering them. We're about to have the US market open in 6 minutes, I think. Maybe I'm completely wrong because I'm a bit of an idiot sometimes. But feel free to dump in your questions and we'll get to it in a sec. I saw a guy constantly asking while I was talking about, am I walking? Yes, I am walking. That's great. Wade Development Group. I hold and I'm watching car YouTubers. What's that guy called? Matt Armstrong. I watch him. And cooking YouTubers while I sit back and let the course run. Exactly. That's what we need to be doing. We need that. That's the winning strategy right now. You can generate cash flow if you have a strategy and you stick to it and you're a trader. Sure. But the winning strategy for me over the long term, I generate cash flow from trading and I put that into the long-term investments. The long-term investments make significantly more money than the trading, right? Over time, because it compounds, which is the best thing. But talking about those short-term investments, if you guys do or are traders and you're currently trading, BitUnex right now is holding an exclusive trading competition for my users. So this is a $20,000 prize pool for the traders under my link. I'm just trying to see if I can get the rankings. Yes, so we actually can. Let me put this over here. So you can see if you are a trader, right, the current prize pool is 20,000. The current trading volume, 37 million. And you see here, you might very well see your username here, but you can see expected rewards building up right here. So just by doing what you're doing anyway, you can take part in this trading competition. Now, if you want to be under me and you want to take part in this, there is also a link under this video where you can agree basically to move under me, your UID. You just fill it out and then you'll be part of this trading competition. So if you want to check it out, guys, everyone who is registered under me, whether they sign up now or they fill out that form, is part of this. So if you're trading anyway, you may as well come and get a part of this. So I'll leave those links down there. And remember, guys, if you do want to check out the crypto Kickstart completely free, a bunch of stuff there. And then if you want to check out and you want access to the Discord, where, yes, I posted today, you can see the longs that I did. We'll talk about that in a second. But you got 4 full-time coaches. You got questions for the coaches. You got daily analysis, weekly wisdom, free content, trades chat, community gains, general chat. There's so much here, right? And you get access to me and Tyler Hill if for whatever reason you want that. All right, guys? So with that said, what did I alert in these this morning? So I said very close to 2021's all-time high, right in the support box. I'm not convinced that this will hold, but I have increased my long-term Bitcoin swing position right now at 75,000. So I caught that low, the local low, right? It might be good, it might be bad. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit, right? If you're willing to hold another 50% drop and then buy, but be very careful here, because that's my thinking, right? I'm willing to sustain a 50% drop from here. That's why I'm buying. I also opened a small Dogecoin long and I opened a small XRP long. Don't leverage or get too excited. I just think we may bounce from here. I also added to my Ethereum long-term position. So the XRP position is over here. If for some reason this doesn't, I don't know what's happened there. Oh, there we go. Oh, no, we don't. Oh, there we go. Oh, no, we don't. There we go. I used XRP as collateral to do this trade, right? You can do that over on BitUnex as well. But you can see we bounced here, right? And great, I've made 186 XRP, but nothing to write home about. Just right now, I'm waiting patiently. This could pay off, but I'm willing to risk the margin I put in. Only 700 XRP, right? I want to generate more XRP. I want to generate what's in my portfolio. As for the Dogecoin trade $800 right now in profit, $2,000 in margin, basically what I'm willing to risk. You can see I bought it then. You can see I've done a load of trades here, which I've been sharing with you guys here every day on the channel. When I open them, when I don't. No guarantees that those will make money. It's just what I'm doing in this market, and I'm sharing it with you guys. And I'm going to start answering some questions. We got 2 minutes until the market open. How are we doing? All right. Already started DCAing in there, Tim. I like it. Rick says 47K might be the bottom. It might very well be. Weekly buys should be set up. Bitcoin is cheaper at 50K and can buy more. Absolutely. Oh, right. That was to answer my question. Yeah, Bitcoin is cheaper, but what if it doesn't go to 50K? Right? What if it doesn't? So does that mean that you don't have any Bitcoin, or you won't be having any Bitcoin, or you won't buy Bitcoin, or are you going to buy Bitcoin if it starts to absolutely rocket like everyone else does, right? That's what we want to avoid doing. I don't want to wait until I'm 100. Fair enough. Well, maybe you should start doing some. The thing is if you want to make a ton of money in a really short period of time, it's a terrible idea. Right? It's a terrible idea, but sometimes it works, right? I bought altcoin back at the start of it was either 2020 or 2021 when I bought it, and it did such a huge move that it made me a ton of money in a very short period of time. It's possible. We did it all here on this channel. It is possible, but it's high risk. High risk, high reward. Low risk, low reward. But the lovely thing about low risk, low reward is approximately S&P 500 10% a year. Low risk, low reward is approximately 50% gain from Bitcoin. Some people would consider it high risk, some people would consider it low risk, right? But that's what you get, and it compounds, and the speed in which it compounds is absolutely insane once you start reaching certain milestones, right? We are not getting out of this without losing money. Depends on which market cycle you're in. I think that we will be getting out of this, but this is my third market cycle. My first one, I did lose all of my money, but I made it all back, right? I just had to wait many years. Just the guy walking in his room is exactly who I am. Yes. Rick, what's my bench? Is that for me? It's 100 kg. I don't know what that is in pounds. What happened to my token talk? I am not posting there right now, but I am considering posting again. It's very hard because in a exciting market, right, there's a lot to talk about. In a not so exciting market, it's hard to make two, because I don't post the same video again over there. So I'd have to make, I have to like talk about the same thing but different, right? If I do get, if people do want it, I can do it. It's just a bit harder when there's not a lot to talk about. Do I think altcoin season is possible this year? It's only possible if we get the liquidity. The liquidity of, for example, rate cuts. The problem with rate cuts are good news is bad news and bad news is good news. Bad news would be good news if you want rate cuts. Rate cuts create liquidity and could create a big push in the market overall, right? But in order to get rate cuts, the Fed needs to see an unstable economy. And one of the things they would look for is a big older crash. Some people speculate that that's actually what Donald Trump is trying to engineer here. Stop using the word F all the time. It's just annoying now. It's worn out and crusty. No. I'll actually use the terminology that I want to. Thank you, though. Tea or coffee? This is coffee right here. Probably shouldn't be drinking it, but hey, I'm addicted. Do I think XRP is worth investing into right now? Very hard to answer. I still hold 75% of my XRP position. I sold 25% at $2.75, and I'm holding it right now. I haven't actually bought any more spot market yet. I'm just waiting patiently. I actually have enough. I bought enough in the last bear market and into the bull that I'm fine with my position. And because I didn't take the other 75% profit, I'm actually fine just waiting. If we go back to maybe 50 cents, maybe I will reaccumulate, because 50 cents is my accumulation where I accumulated all my XRP. Would I consider selling Bitcoin if it's in profit and when it drops back and buy in? No, that's like my Bitcoin is in profit, but I would consider selling it in the bull market. However, in fact, I did sell it. I didn't sell my Bitcoin. I sold CleanSpark, right? Because I was investing in CleanSpark at the same time I was buying Bitcoin in the bear market. And instead of selling my Bitcoin, because I didn't want to, but I wanted to realize profits, gains, significant gains. And I was like, well, I have CleanSpark, I have Bitcoin. What would I run? Because I custody my Bitcoin, right? So I'm like, oh, I'll sell CleanSpark. And I did. And it turned out really good. But no, I wouldn't sell Bitcoin right now. I think it's a futile thing for me to do, right? If I look at the market right now, 77, okay, I think maybe, yeah, 58, 50, 40 is possible, right? So for me to sell it right now, I don't care about saving that 28% because I think it's going to go up. So what I'd rather do is instead of risking losing my Bitcoin because I think I can time the bottom, I'd rather just buy more as it drops, right? That might turn out to be the wrong idea, but that's what's worked for me in the past. And I want to hold this Bitcoin for a long time. Stock Mo believes are at the cycle low. We very much could be. Do you think in your experience, we're in an alt bear market since December 24 and Bitcoin since summer 2025, that Bitcoin will be shorter bear? We've been in a Bitcoin bear market since October, but I don't think it's fair to say that the overall markets have been in a bear market since 2024. It's definitely an idea, and it's an idea that I've toyed with, and it's an idea that I've researched. But the way I think about it is just because essentially anything outside of the top 10 didn't pump, we still had a ton of money in, just call it the top 10 cryptos, you know, XRP, Solana, all of that, and meme coins. So I don't really think that that's the case. However, I would love to be wrong in that thesis. And, that would mean we've already been in the bear market for, a year and 3 months or 2 months or whatever. So that'd be lovely. And I'm fully open to it because I hold altcoins. Do I think this US stock market will open green or red? Well, I think it has opened and it is a green. I think so anyway. We can jump onto it over here. A little bit of a green move. This is the thing. Things are always like the liquidity in the market is always scary, right? In these sorts of moments in the weekend, right? And now the stock market's opening green, but it might lose that. Sorry, my dog's looking like you might want to go out. 1 second. 1 second, I'll be back. I am back. Just wanted to open the door there, so no one does anything they shouldn't on the carpet. Let's continue walking. If anyone's interested, I've apparently burnt 100 calories, which seems like it's a waste of time. But I had 3,000 steps. But let's continue. They will dump you at market open, maybe. Hello, how are you doing? Should I buy ETH? Mate, you got to answer that yourself, or I'll end up like Tom Lee and you come lynch me when it goes down. How much was liquidated from the crash? We have had 802 in the last 24 hours, 802 million. How is Bitcoin moving now that the market is a little bit green? 78.5, not bad. No cause for celebration yet. Dogecoin trade, $1,100 profit. Lovely XRP trade, looking nice. And then the longer term trades I will show you in tomorrow's video, but I averaged relatively heavy into Ethereum and Bitcoin and I'm quite happy so far. Remember, guys, if you do want to trade and you are already trading, BitUnex has a trading competition. So if you are already trading on BitUnex, make sure you continue to, because you can get 20,000 up to 20,000. And if you aren't already, fill out the form, because then you can get moved under me and then you can get part of this 20,000 USDT, which is linked in the description. And feel free to grab those if you want, guys. Volume on my mic is a bit low. I can turn it up. Yeah, let me know. I don't like it. If it's too high, it starts to like pop. But let me know, guys. I just put it up 2 points there. Let me know if that's any better or it's too loud. Shorts are getting liquidated bad. Yeah, short squeeze is what I would expect to happen. That's why I went long on all of those things, because you can see we basically have no longs. So it would make sense. And we've got to make sure that you understand that this is a short-term thesis. Leverage doesn't dictate the way Bitcoin moves in the longer term, right? It dictates what happens in the short term. So in the short term, there's a lot of money and liquidity above us. So therefore, I'm going to try and get that bounce. And I'm going to do things like the Dogecoin trade. Look at this, guys. So this is the opportunity that arises in moments like this, right? So 200,000 Doge long for $2,000. That's a 10x, right? Could be very risky, right? It could be. I could lose money on that. So I risk $2,000. Now I've got $1,000 profit. I could take profits from this, but I'm not going to, because I'd love to ride this up, right? I'd love to turn $2,000 into $10,000, for example. We've done it live here on the channel. But what I can do, right, is I can put in a 10% stop loss here, confirm that I'm willing to lose $200. You can see that I don't want to risk, like, what's that going to lose us? 1,000. I want to put it there. But for example, you can take your stop loss, you put it in break even right now, right there. And now look at that. We're going to make $38 no matter what happens. All right. So that's the sort of thing that you can do in this market. Again, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to. I want to be able to, sustain the volatility. But that's an example of what you can do using leverage in a market like this, right? And that's why I do it. I like to take these risks. You shouldn't take the risks if you're worried about losing the margin that you've put in. We've now made 200 XRP using this margin, right? But I'm happy to lose this. These are my chips on the table that I'm willing to lose right now. So if you want to do something similar, guys, BitUnext, link down there. And let's get back to the old questions. Stop leveraging. You'll lose everything. Yes, don't leverage if you don't have a strategy and you don't stick to it. Because yes, you will lose everything. That's what normally happens. But I think if you have a strategy, a thesis, and an idea, and you have very strict rules, for example, when we have profit, you move in, break even, whatever it is, right? Then you can make money. Do I think altcoins will disappear in the long term, or maybe some of them will have real use cases? I think blockchain has real use cases. I think Ethereum has real use cases. I think layer 2s on Ethereum have real use cases. I think the majority of altcoins don't, because they could just be layer 2s on Ethereum. And I do believe that some will last. For example, Robinhood, maybe will they launch their own altcoin that's a layer 2 on Ethereum to run the gas on their blockchain? Maybe, probably. So they might work, but I don't know. Exchange tokens tend to make a lot of money. That's why I'm invested into those. But overall, I'm far more interested in stacking Bitcoin and Ethereum, Solana, bit of XRP, bit of Dogecoin, and that's like an ETF of the market, right? I got meme coins, I've got Ethereum killers, I've got Ethereum, I got Bitcoin, right? And then I've got XRP, which is like I wouldn't call it an underdog because it's so large, but like it's like that play, it's that like, okay, well, Bitcoin's meant to be decentralized. What's the exact opposite to Bitcoin being decentralized? Well, XRP. So that's why I have a bit of that. Do I think Solana will be the meta in the next bull run? Maybe, yeah. We'll probably have a meme season again, I would say. Are longs the play here with such a drop in XRP and Bitcoin? That's up to you, your risk appetite and your strategy. I'm currently long right now. So that's it. Guys, with that said, 3,000 steps in. I'm getting a bit tired. I'm going to have to love you and leave you. Thank you for tuning in. Do me a favor, like this video or go and comment if I've helped you at all. If you are at all making profit in this market, whether it's long or short, I wouldn't get too excited with this pump. I'd like to see a very nice move to the upside. But if you appreciate me showing up when maybe other people aren't showing up, or you just appreciate the British accent and attitude, I'd love for you to stick around. So hit that subscribe button. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one. And make sure, if you haven't already, you sign up to BitUnext, because there's this 20,000 USDT trading competition. There's also a load of other benefits to signing up from BitUnext. It's a great exchange. It works really well, and you can do a ton of stuff on it. And with that said, I'll leave you with it, but go check out the